I used to think love showed up when you least expected it. That morning in March, sitting in a coffee shop 2 blocks from my apartment, I met someone who seemed different. Her name was Heather. She had this bright smile and an easy laugh that made conversation feel natural. We talked about work life and eventually about her new apartment that needed some serious repairs. I told her I had been doing renovations for 12 years. She seemed impressed. When I offered to help, I thought I was being a gentleman. I had no idea what was coming. Before I tell you how badly this went south, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. Hit that like button if you have ever trusted the wrong person. And subscribe because this story gets wild. Now let me walk you through what happened when kindness got twisted into something ugly. Heather and I started dating 2 weeks after that first conversation. Our early dates felt normal, even sweet. We went to dinner at a small Italian place downtown, caught a movie on Friday night, and walked through the park on Sunday afternoons. But no matter where we went or what we talked about, she kept bringing up her apartment. The floors were warped, she said. The kitchen was stuck in the 1980s. The bathroom had a leak that would not quit. Every time she mentioned it, her voice carried this weight like the problems were crushing her. I have been in construction and renovation for over a decade. When I hear about cracked tiles or broken cabinets, my brain automatically starts solving the problem. So when Heather kept talking about how much it would cost to hire contractors, I felt this pull to step in. She had just bought the place and told me her savings were wiped out from the down payment. I wanted to help. I wanted to be the kind of person who showed up when someone needed it. One evening, over coffee, I made the offer. "I can help you out," I said. "I have got tools and connections with suppliers. We can do this together." Her reaction was immediate. She threw her arms around me and said, "You are amazing, Don. I am so lucky." In that moment, I felt good. I felt like I was building something real with her, something that mattered. The following Saturday, we drove out to her place. It was a 2-bedroom apartment in an older complex on the edge of town. When she unlocked the door and let me inside, I understood why she had been so stressed. The place needed work. The walls had paint peeling in patches. The wooden floors buckled in spots where water damage had set in. The kitchen cabinets were the kind you see in outdated home improvement shows with fake wood grain and loose hinges. The bathroom was even worse. The tub had a crack running down one side and the tiles around it were chipped and stained. I walked through each room, taking notes on my phone. We would need to replace the flooring entirely, I told her. The kitchen needed new cabinets, countertops, and appliances. The bathroom would require a full renovation, new tub, new toilet, new tiles. I estimated it would cost around $15,000 for materials and tools. Her face fell when I said the number. "That is way too much for me right now," she said. "Can we do it gradually?" I thought about it for a minute, then made a choice I would later regret. "Tell you what I said. I will cover the materials. You can pay me back slowly, no rush. We are building something here, right?" She looked at me with this grateful expression, kissed me on the cheek, and said, "I promise I will make it up to you." The first weekend of work started the next Saturday. I showed up at 7 in the morning with my truck full of tools. Heather was there, cheerful and excited, bringing me coffee and breakfast sandwiches. We spent the day tearing up the old flooring. It was hard, sweaty work. The wood came up in chunks, nails screeching as I pried them loose. By 8 that night, my back ached, and my hands were raw, but the old floor was gone. The second week, I ordered new hardwood flooring. It cost $3,200. I paid for it with my credit card, telling myself she would pay me back eventually. Installing the floor took 3 full days. I measured each plank, cut it to fit, and nailed it down piece by piece. When I finished, the floor looked incredible, smooth and polished, reflecting the light from the windows. Heather stopped by that evening to check on the progress. She walked across the new floor in her socks, grinning. "This is beautiful, Don," she said. "You are so talented." But when I suggested we grab dinner to celebrate, she hesitated. "I am exhausted from work," she said. Maybe this weekend, I understood. People get tired. But later that night, scrolling through social media, I saw a photo she had posted. She was at a bar downtown with friends, laughing over cocktails. The timestamp said it was taken just 2 hours after she told me she was too tired to go out. I felt a flicker of irritation, but pushed it aside. Maybe her friend had dragged her out at the last minute. Maybe she just needed to blow off steam. I told myself not to read too much into it. Still, the image stuck with me, and a quiet doubt began to form in the back of my mind. The third week I moved on to the kitchen. This was the most expensive part of the project. I ordered custom cabinets for $4,500. The granite countertop cost another $1,200. Then there were the appliances, a stainless steel refrigerator, a gas range, and a dishwasher. Altogether, the kitchen upgrades ran me just over $8,000. I put it all on my cards, trusting that we were in this together. I spent long days installing the cabinets, making sure every door hung straight and every hinge was tight. I measured and cut the granite countertop myself, a delicate job that required precision. When I finally bolted the last appliance into place, the kitchen looked like something out of a design magazine. Modern, sleek, and functional. Heather came by to inspect the work. She walked around the kitchen, running her hands over the granite opening and closing the cabinet doors. Then she pulled out her phone and started taking pictures. She posted them on social media with a caption that read, "My place is getting a total makeover. So grateful." I noticed she did not mention me in the post. Not a single tag, not even a hint that someone else had done the work. I tried not to let it bother me, but it did. What bothered me more was the shift in her attitude. She started talking about the apartment in a different way. Instead of calling it home, she referred to it as an investment. One night she asked me, "Do you think these upgrades will add at least $30,000 to the property value?" I told her they would easily. She smiled and said, "Good. That is what I was hoping." Her tone was businesslike, detached. It made me uneasy. Around this time, I also noticed she was responding to my texts less frequently. I would send her a message asking how her day was going, and she would reply hours later with something short and vague. When I suggested we take a weekend trip after the renovations were done, she said, "Let us finish the apartment first, then we will see." There was no warmth in her words, no excitement. I started to feel like I was being used, but I had already sunk so much money and time into the project that stopping felt impossible. The fourth week I began work on the bathroom. I ripped out the old tub, smashed the cracked tiles with a sledgehammer, and hauled everything to the dumpster. Then, I installed a new soaking tub that cost $1,800. I replaced the old toilet with a high-end model that had all kinds of features. A bidet function, heated, seat the works. That alone was $900. I laid down expensive porcelain tiles on the floor and walls, which ran me another $2,000 for materials. I also installed a chrome rainfall shower head and a large mirror with built-in LED lighting. Every detail mattered to me. I wanted the bathroom to be perfect, not just because I cared about quality work, but because I still believed somewhere deep down that this effort would mean something to her, that it would bring us closer. By this point, I had spent over $18,000. That was $3,000 more than my original estimate, but I had gone with better materials and added a few upgrades I thought she would appreciate. I kept all the receipts in a folder in my truck. I am organized like that. It is part of being in the business. One afternoon, Heather invited some friends over to see the progress. I was still working in the bathroom when I heard them arrive. I could hear their voices through the walls, laughing and talking. One of her friends said, "Wow, Heather, this is going to be worth so much more now." Heather laughed and replied, "I know, right? This is like hitting the jackpot." The words felt like a punch to the gut. I stopped working and just stood there holding a tile in my hand, feeling the weight of what I had heard. Later that evening, I brought up the subject of payment. I tried to keep my tone casual. "So, about the plan we talked about," I said. "When do you think you can start paying me back?" She barely looked up from her phone. "Soon, Dawn," she said. "I am a bit tight right now. You understand." But the next day, I saw her post a picture of a new designer handbag she had bought. The price tag on that thing could have covered a week of groceries. My frustration grew, but I kept it to myself. I told myself she would come through. I told myself I just needed to be patient. The sixth weekend arrived, and I finished the last of the work. I painted the walls, installed new light fixtures, and cleaned up every bit of dust and debris. When I stepped back and looked at what I had created, I felt a surge of pride. The apartment was transformed. The floors gleamed, the kitchen sparkled, the bathroom looked like something from a luxury hotel. I called Heather and told her it was done. She arrived an hour later. She walked through each room slowly, taking it all in. She snapped photos from every angle. Then she turned to me and said, "Oh my God, Dawn, this is incredible. This place is worth so much more now." I smiled, tired but hopeful. I am glad you love it, I said. So, about what we discussed, the payment plan. She stopped. Her expression changed. The warmth drained from her face, replaced by something cold and distant. Dawn, we need to talk, she said. My stomach dropped. Okay, I said. What is wrong? She crossed her arms and looked at me like I was a stranger. I have been thinking, she said. This is not working out between us. I think we should end things. I stared at her, unable to process what I was hearing. What I said, why now? After everything. She shrugged as casual, as if she were discussing the weather. I just do not feel the connection anymore, she said. But hey, thanks for the value boost. You did an amazing job. I stood there frozen, trying to understand how someone could be so cold. Then she kept talking, and it got worse.